expression, you basically want to find its domain. And remember, an expression is when you don't have an equal sign. Like in this case, there is no equal sign. Well, what do we do to simplify this thing? Well, first of all, I don't know if you remember this, but we always like our x squareds to be in front. So let's do the same thing at the bottom. So we have x squared minus 25 over. Now, if I want this on the left side, remember, it's a negative x squared, right? So I would move a negative x squared. That's a positive 5x, so I would just do a plus 5x. Is everybody okay? So now, here's the thing. Now, I want to simplify this problem to find out when I cannot have a 0 at the bottom. It is very important we find out when it cannot be 0, because when you're trying to find any kind of solution to this problem, go to the calculator and see what's 5 divided by 0. And when you do it on a normal calculator, it's going to say error. Or on Desmos, it might say undefined. Or you might see this little symbol. That's the symbol for undefined. Well, that basically means that when you plug in a specific number, you get a 0 at the bottom. Oops, sorry. You get a 0 at the bottom. So we got to figure out all the possible x's that we plug in to avoid plugging them in. So let's figure this out. To do this, guys, we need to simplify the bottom to figure out what's my possible x's I don't want. What to do that, guys? First of all, I don't like these a negative on the big x squared. So how about we get rid of it? How about we take out a negative 1? That will make that x squared into a positive, and that will make the plus 5x into a minus 5x. Alrighty. So now, ooh, did I forget something? Is there anything else I could have taken out? Yes, Mr. Modano. You could have taken out an x. So instead of a negative 1, I could have taken out a negative 1x. That would have made this one x, and this would be just minus 5. So look how simple that is. Now, if I don't want a 0 at the bottom right here, my x cannot be what? Well, listen, if I were to plug in a 0 here, if I were to plug in a 0 right here, well, negative 1 times 0 is just 0. And whatever this is times 0 is going to make it 0. So I don't want x to be 0, right? So x cannot be 0. Let me just get that out of there. There we go. X cannot be 0. Or now focus on this side. In this parentheses, x minus 5. What could x be to give this little section a 0? Well, isn't 5 minus 5 a 0? So if this parentheses was 0, negative 1x times 0 would also make it 0 at the bottom. So we just found what x cannot be. X cannot be 0, or x cannot be positive 5. All right, so we found those answers. Now it is time for us to simplify. Notice how we already simplified the bottom. And can we simplify the top? If you guys don't remember your good old diamond method here, let's go back to the top. That means we have multiply on top. It's a times c on the top and times b at the bottom. Or sometimes it's flipped. Either one is fine. So what is my a and c? Let me just write them down here. Now notice that there's no x to the 1 power. So in other words, it looks something like this. Plus 0x plus, or minus in this case, minus 25. Well, this is my a, this is my b, this is my c. My a is 1, correct? Well, a times c right now is negative 25. My b is 0. So what two numbers multiplied gives me negative 25, but adds to 0? And if you haven't seen it, it's actually the same number, just opposite charge. It's actually a 5 and a minus 5. So it actually gives us x plus 5, x minus 5. Can we cancel anything? Remember, guys, when you have a fraction and both numbers are the same, they cancel out. In this case, because we're multiplying, we can cancel by parentheses. What parentheses do we have in common? We have x minus 5, top and bottom. So those two get canceled out. So what do we have left, guys? We have x minus 5 to over negative 1x. And when x is not equal to 0 or 5. And that's one way you can see the problem. I know Khan Academy might be a little more hardcore. It might say, hey, we don't like negatives at the bottom. So what they do is they will put parentheses, move the negative up top, so it's technically negative x minus 5 over 1x, right? And maybe if they distribute it, that will be negative x plus 5 over, well, 1x is just saying x. Again, crazy methods they like to simplify to the fullest. Although this wouldn't be wrong, though. It's just a matter of what option they give you in the multiple choice. And that's basically how you do rational expressions.